Hey Lee, how are you doing?
Very well, Maddie. Thank you for having me today on the
you.
inaugural Magic Show.
Thank you, and welcome to everybody to the Magic Show. Today I'm talking to Lee ASHER. We're going to be talking about playing cards, live tweeting, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But first I want to get into you, Lee, because you're sort of your own little brand.
I am.
And
I am.
I see that as very different than a lot of guys. Can you talk about that?
Yeah,
I'd love to. You have
to.
your own
I'd
deck
love
of
to.
playing cards. It doesn't say, well, it does say Lee ASHER.
Of course it does. That's got my signature, of course. I've got my own playing cards. I've got my own website. I own most of the material and the rights to my material. I was really lucky as a youth. Both my father and my friends were always business savvy. And so they always showed me that it was in my best interest to maintain my rights and to run my own brand and kind of control my own destiny. So, yeah, like I have guys to thank, like Steve Fearson, my father, BJ Bueno, like the list goes on. There's a whole bunch of guys, and I apologize if I'm missing anyone. But these are the people that taught me that it's important. It's important to control your own destiny. And so that's why you see me doing things that other guys don't necessarily do or can't do, because I own my rights. I can move things into different formats. I can make deals with people. I can kind of do whatever I want.
How did that start? I mean, how old were you when you started lecturing and getting a name in Magic?
Well, when I was 15, the ASHER Twist came out.
Okay.
So I think that we could probably...
But you released it back then, or you?
Yeah, Gary Willett, I was at a Effectors actually, and Gary Willett saw me doing this thing with 4 aces and went crazy. And that's how it kind of blew up. But I'd been in Magic for a couple of years prior to that. You know, I was 15 then, but I'd been in Magic since I was about 7 or 8.
Okay.
So it took me a while to get noticed. And once I got noticed, then it was about continuing to keep up, you know, with the consumption. What else can I create? What other important things can I do?
Mm-hmm. So you started out by putting out notes and stuff, and you had the early DVDs, which I always made fun of you of.
Thank you.
To your face.
Thank you.
To your face.
Much appreciated.
You had Card Star.
Yeah, 5-card stud. 5-card stud.
5-card stud.
Yeah.
You had Lee ASHER Devil O.
That's the 5-card stud. But then I did Well Done. Before that was called Cooking with Lee ASHER, where we filmed things in a kitchen, took props out of a refrigerator. That was a lot of fun. And then I did the Losing Control movie. I've done a handful of things, you know. And
you did Hit the Road with Paul Wilson.
Hit the Road with Paul Wilson.
I think that was the first sort of like travel Magic.
Maybe the second. You know, I think
DVD.
Richard Sanders and David Acker came up with Road Killers.
Yeah.
And that just actually, I think, like right around now is maybe a 10 or 15 year anniversary of that. But when we finished filming, that had come out. So they're the first. They should get the credit. But it was a lot of fun. You know, Paul and I decided to just travel around for 3 weeks and meet magicians and do kind of something like this. You know, have real conversations with magicians in parts of the world.
But what were you doing differently? Because a lot of guys release stuff and put out videos, but you're like your own separate guy, Lee ASHER. At least I think of you.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. And I think a lot of it has to do with I might look young, but I've been in this game for a long time.
Lee, you don't look young.
Thank you.
I'm joking.
I've been in Magic a long time. My dad is a magician, so I was born into it. Right? I'll be 40 next month, so this will be like 40 years of Magic. I haven't been doing it for 40 years, but it's been around me. I've sucked up the culture for 40 years. So I was here before the internet. You know, I was here when they were making VHS tapes.
So the 605s, when did they come out?
2009.
2009.
2009. I printed with Fournier.
Really? It seemed like longer than that.
No, 2009. It happened. I mean, it took me about 6 to 8 months to get all the artwork together and get the deal made and to push everything through and then go through the printing and have it shipped. And I mean, it's a whole process, as you know.
Was that before the Buck Twins did their first deck?
No. It was. I mean, we were all kind of in the same couple of years.
Okay.
2004 is when it really took off, right? With the Black Tiger deck from Illusionist. That wasn't the first customized deck, but that was really kind of the explosion of the market.
Yeah.
And then from 2004 on, you started to see the Buck Twins and Theory 11 and obviously Illusionist and all these other companies started kind of coming out of the woodwork. And at that time, they were all printing with the United States Playing Card Company. No one varied from USPC. And, you know, I had been around the world a couple of times, and I kind of knew there were other manufacturers out there. I'm not saying they were better, just there were other. You know, I had a choice. And so I decided to look into Spain. And I I printed with Fournier in 2009.
I like Fournier a lot.
Oh yeah, they are a wonderful company. They've been around almost as long as USPC. They've got just a wonderful, rich history. And what I like about it is that they're a very small operation compared to USPC. So if I were to make a deck and I were to call USPC, I'd have to deal with the custom division. And in the custom division, there's maybe 3 or 4 people within that I'd have to deal with, which is great. But at Fournier, I dealt with the CEO.
Right.
Yeah, I dealt with the top, and it was great. It was great not having to wait to hear, oh, let me ask. No, he knew. He knew exactly what we were doing. And so that really kind of solidified for me why I would want to deal with this company versus other companies. And then, like I say, there are other manufacturers that have popped out of the woodwork since that I would absolutely work with. I am not just solely working with Fournier. I would love to do something with Expert. I wouldn't mind doing something with Bicycle.
Do you want to do another deck?
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment.
No, because it's not about
You're waiting
versions.
until they can get the full foil cards.
I'm waiting till he can do everything. I'm waiting till this deck can phone home for me. No, you know what? It's not so much what I'm waiting for as much as I've got a deck I love, and it does exactly what I needed to do, and I can go find more, but I'm so satisfied.
Yeah.
There will be a day where I'm going to look for more. There will be a day, but right now, like I say, I'm satisfied.
And you're still selling the 605s.
605s.
I was gonna bring my deck today. No, I'm serious. I've had the deck for 6 years. The box doesn't exist anymore.
No, the box. I don't. That's the only thing that doesn't last.
It literally slowly degraded. I'm not joking. It came apart, and it came to the part where the seams were gone, and I taped the pieces together, and it eventually slowly disappeared. I don't know.
I still have the proof deck they sent me, right? So they sent me a bunch of decks to play with, but then they sent me a proof deck. That's not. It is a 605, but it's not a 605. Okay, that's the best way I can describe it. And it was for me to feel the stock and play and whatnot. And I still have it, and it's still great. And it's like I don't know what to say. There are cards that I've picked up years ago that I've played with for 5 minutes, and I have to throw them away.
Yeah.
And that's not how Fournier works. Fournier is like a beautiful leather shoe. Once it's broken in, you wear it forever.
Even the regular, not even the 605s, which are ridiculous.
Yeah, but the 505s,
the 505s,
the Vittorias, any of within their brand, they make high quality cards.
Yeah.
They know what they're doing, and there's a special love that they have. Like all of their employees just love the business. They love the factory. They love what the business stands for. And so I like working with companies like that. I really do.
Cool. Are you going to be talking about any of the stuff in this book? I don't know if you guys know what this book is, but I haven't even read this book yet.
Okay, so this is the Hoffman Encyclopedia of American Playing Cards, written by Tom and Judy Dawson.
Favorite deck?
Yeah, their favorite deck or my favorite deck?
Theirs and then yours.
Theirs obviously is the Murphy's Varnish deck right here that you will see on the cover of this book.
You know what? There was a company, Home Run Games.
Yep. Yeah, Michael Scott is his name.
Yeah, Michael
and he
Scott.
Just made a repro of the Murphy's Varnish.
He sent me one, and I really liked. I didn't know that it was based on an old thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, Murphy's Varnish was made by Andrew Doherty, the same guy that made Tally Ho. So it's all kind of in the family. But these guys, right here, Tom and Judy Dawson.
Yep.
Tom sadly passed away a little while ago, but his wife is still alive, and they live here. She lives here in Toronto.
Is she going to be there on Sunday?
I hope so. I can't promise.
Okay.
But they wrote this amazing book that was based on a couple of volumes of something called the Hoffman's pamphlets, and that's Eugene Hoffman. He was a very interesting card collector and an historian, and so they kind of compiled all of his information and then started adding to it, and so that's what this is. This is an entire book of old playing cards, antique and vintage playing cards, and the history behind them. And it kind of stops at about 1930. There's a few decks that kind of push in after that, but for the most part, this is an antique discussion. And this is, if you're into playing cards, you should absolutely check this out. It might not be for you, but you will learn something about playing cards from this book. Like, it goes through all the different manufacturers, and it talks about all the different brands that the manufacturers made. It's a great book, and as you can see, it is my resource. Like, I am constantly opening it up, looking, making my notes. It's one of those. And what's also nice is the Conjuring Arts Research Center just put out a digital version of this.
Yes, I did. I
so
did see
if
that.
you want to like do some searching, some like digital searching, you can, right? Because it's hard to go, like there's definitely an index in here, but when you can search something with about 2 seconds worth of work, it makes it easier.
And let me just say, the playing card community, the collectors, the actual real collectors, are amazing. I was designing a deck, I still am designing a deck, and I wanted to see some old good old cards.
Yeah.
And so Lee hooked me up, and he gave me a bunch of emails, or I forget exactly how it happens, but I contacted these people, and they were like, yeah, I have a bunch. Oh, yeah, I got some, and I know this guy who has some, and without me even asking them, they went out of their way to take the cards out of their collection, and they didn't even have fresh scans of some of these cards. They took their time to scan these cards and to send it to me in high res so that I could, look at it in great detail. And
the playing card world's different than the Magic world. Right?
I've never had a single magician. No, that's not true.
Well, that's not true. There's some great magicians out there. But the playing card world is different in that there are no secrets, right? It's not a secret hierarchy. It's the playing card world. So what I like to tell people about the differences are, if you go to a Magic convention, the first thing that you'll see is not the best thing. And you're going to have to wait all day, and maybe all night, and maybe you're going to have to go into the back room where the door gets locked, and that's when you'll see great Magic. But in the playing card world, the first thing you're going to see is their best deck, is their best piece. They lead with their best, and which is 180 from Magic. And so maybe that could be a reason why I love it so much, But there's some amazing information and data that this world has that has not collided with the Magic world yet. And it's nice to be a liaison between the two worlds to connect them, because as magicians...
Well, you are the liaison.
I put the Lee and liaison. That's what I like to say there.
You put the Lee and liaison.
I put the Lee and liaison. So
you are right now the president?
I am the president of the playing card organization called 52 Plus Joker. Mm-hmm. I believe we're the world's largest playing card collectors association. And we have members all over the world. The majority of us collect full decks and collect American brands, or North American brands. So if you collect European tarot cards, yes, we would still welcome you, but like I say, our focus isn't that. There are other clubs that have that focus. There are tarot clubs, there are English Playing Card Society, International Playing Card Society. So there are other, fraternities, if you will. But the one that I'm in charge of, I'm the fearless leader, is the 52 Plus Joker, and it's great. It's a lot of fun. We have an annual convention every year. Last year it was in Orlando. This year it'll be in Chicago, and we have members, like I say, that come from all over.
But you are a real liaison, and I mean that because I remember when I first heard about it a couple years ago. I think it was some magician here in Toronto who mentioned it passingly. Oh, there's going to be this convention, and none of the magicians knew about it. But since you became involved and have been sort of propagating what is it, the monthly?
Yeah, every month we've put out a digital newsletter or a magazine called Card Culture that started 18 issues ago. So
propaganda.
Yeah, and we also have a quarterly magazine called Clear the Decks that comes out every quarter for the last 20 years. That Tom and Judy run that. Judy is the editor; she's the queen. Okay. We try very hard to give space and the right tools to the collectors to grow and become better collectors and smarter, historians. Because that's our job as the executive. Yeah. Right. Our job is to, like I said, give you the room to grow, and to give you to water you like a flower, and to give you what you need, and that's been a lot of fun. It's been challenging, but it's been a lot of fun, because there are three different parts of the playing card world. There's the vintage world, there's the antique, and then there's the modern, and not all three of them see eye to eye sometimes, but with more work and propagation. We are coming together, and we are becoming one. I mean, that was Tom Dawson's vision of having all of us under one roof, and he's right. He's right, because there's so much to learn from the antique and the vintage for the modern, and there's so much to learn from the modern from the antique and vintage. Because what I've realized being the liaison is that the antique and vintage are very passionate about their subject. Mm-hmm. Well, so's the modern, and so we really share a lot more than we have differences. And that's been my job for the last 5 or 6 years as being part of the executive board, is kind of pulling back the curtain and showing these differences and saying, look, we're really not that different. We love the same thing, we care about the same thing, we want the same thing, And it's now happening. It's now, there are people in the antique and vintage world that are now backing modern decks on Kickstarter.
So there's not so much difference after all.
Not at all. Not at all.
Speaking of differences, I know a lot of people have had different opinion of your live tweeting.
Yeah? Yeah, look, if I'm nothing but controversial. Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
So
what is live tweeting, first of all, for the people that don't know?
Okay, so the people at home
you go
who
to
don't
an
know.
event.
Yeah, you go to an event and I don't want to say you're a reporter for what's happening, because that's not, I don't think that's the best description of a live tweet, but it's sharing your experience at this event that's not going to happen again with people that can't be there.
Right.
And that's an interesting layer that, as a magician, we should examine. Is it right? Is it wrong? I don't know yet, right? It's still too new to say if it's good or bad, but it's something we should examine and kind of push the envelope on, because that's what we do. That's what we do.
Lee, you got to start using Snapchat.
Yeah, I know.
I just started using it, and I don't know if any of you guys use it, but it's so awesome because it's like a real conversation. Sometimes you send somebody a message, and anyways, you don't necessarily want that message to last forever. You know what I mean?
What kind of conversations are you having, Maddie?
The magic kind.
Cut, edit. I would love to get it.
It's like real life, though, where every single time you put something out, you're starting a new conversation. There's not like a history of, you can't just scroll up and see.
Yeah, there's no feed you can look at.
And so that's what I like about this. It's more of a live thing. You're sending content out.
I'm into it. The thing is, there's only 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
I have a wife, I have a dog, and there are more social media platforms than time. So I kind of have to choose wisely. And Twitter is what I've chosen, and I've also chosen a Chinese media social platform called WeChat.
Oh, WeChat.
WeChat, because
I need to learn how to use WeChat. I only know how to message people. I don't know how to do anything else.
Yeah. It's in moments. You go in. It's similar to Facebook or Snapchat or Instagram in that regard. But again, I have to choose because there's only 24 hours in a day, and so I've chosen the WeChat and Twitter. But with Twitter, getting back to the live tweeting, again, it adds a layer to your show. I think that it adds a layer to where people that can't be there can participate. I mean, in Magic, it's all about engagement. And so if I can have multiple layers of engagement happening, well, why not? So again, I understand that it's still taboo. There are rules, there's etiquette. Obviously, if you're live tweeting and bothering the person next to you, you're not doing it right.
You're live tweeting while on stage?
Yeah, you know what? I've done that before. I did a lecture in Chicago.
You're not helping your case.
I did a lecture in Chicago. No, I was smart about it. I did a lecture in Chicago where I've done the lecture so many times, I know where I'm going to be at a certain period. Mm-hmm. So I loaded in a bunch of tweets that had, references back to YouTube videos that, we were talking, specific things we were talking about in the lecture. And I kind of timed them. So when I started the lecture, I pressed start, and 5 minutes into my lecture, boom, the first tweet went out automatically. And so it was a live tweet during the lecture, but I wasn't stopping and doing it. And what was great about that was there was a whole group of people from around the world that felt like they were at my lecture.
Right.
And that's what I'm talking about, is this engagement that we're not going to get elsewhere. And it can be our mortal enemy, the cell phone, but it can also be an interesting ally. And I think the more that we start to venture in and look and examine in that, again, we could walk away in 20 years and realize that was the worst move ever. But how do we know unless we examine? And so that's why I'm a proponent of the live tweet at this moment, is that I think we need to keep looking and keep understanding what we're playing with and engaging. And again, it could be amazing. It could be an amazing tool. It really could.
So one of the other things that I want to talk to you about is this bash, which you've turned into a phenomenon.
Keep talking. I want to try this while you're
eating. Eat it. It's great. So for those of you who don't know, here in Toronto we have an amazing magic shop that's been open for forever, longer than I've been alive.
Almost 40 years, I think.
Almost 40 years.
Maybe 40 years.
Maybe 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Browser's Den, and the owner, with the help of Lee, have put together a one-day convention, and it's been going for 2 years now.
This
and
is the second year.
It's amazing. They've gotten so many people out to this. When Lee, let me tell you the story from my perspective.
Give it to me.
Lee calls me up one day. We're having a conversation. I don't know who calls who, but you bring it up, and you're like, "Oh, Maddie, we're doing this thing. Can you be a part of it? We're going to be doing it the Vietnamese restaurant right across the street from the magic shop, like this tiny place, and it's supposed to bring more people to this shop. I thought it would be like a little anniversary party type thing.
It was planned for about 100 people.
I thought with the price and everything, because I know how cheap, magicians are in general, I thought you guys would get 40 people out, 50 people out. Not to knock you guys, I just, I know how hard it is to get people out to things. So I'm like, sure, I'll do it. And you put it together, and you're giving me updates as it goes, week after week, you're calling me. Oh, Maddie, we're actually going to do it at a bigger venue.
Yeah.
And then what? Okay, so you guys put it on sale. You develop your marketing plan and all that. You put it on sale, and how many are you expecting? And then what happens in the
So we put the plan together for 100 people for this event at the Vietnamese restaurant across the way. And 8 days after we started selling tickets, we completely sold out. Completely. So it took 2 emails to completely sell out. And then we kind of, we had 3.5 months. And so I asked
everybody
Jeff,
was buying it online, or people were
mostly online.
And that's a first for the magic shop.
Oh yeah,
isn't it?
oh yeah. We definitely upped the browser's, online game. He is now in the 21st century.
Yeah.
And so
whether he likes it
or not. So we sold it out, and we had about 3.5 months. And I said to Jeff, let's flirt with disaster. We shouldn't do this. But let's go find a new venue. Let's see if we can sell more tickets, because the ultimate goal of the bash is about how do we love Jeff's customers.
Yeah.
That's how it started. And we can't love the customer by telling them they can't come.
Yeah.
And so we need to find a bigger space so we can tell them they can come. And so we found a different venue that was much bigger, and we went from being completely sold out to completely in the red. It was hard. That was a very painful day.
This was because of the change of venue?
Change of venue. Obviously,
so much
there was
more expensive.
There was just a lot more logistics had to happen. We brought in Stephen Klein all of a sudden. Stephen wasn't prepared to be the production when we were at the Vietnamese restaurant, because there was no production.
Yeah.
We didn't need production.
You at the Vietnamese restaurant, you would have had a flat screen.
That's it. We 4 or 5 screens around it. But because of
Hold on,
the
what's
room.
that, Chris?
The what?
What were you saying?
I was meant to be the production for
That's right.
Great. Well, that stays in.
Bring your camera.
Because it was supposed to be very small, right? But because we moved to the bigger venue, now all of a sudden I'm working with thousands of square feet. I call up my buddy Stephen Klein, and I say to him, "You please come help me make this beautiful." And he did. He was amazing. He didn't even ask how much I had in the budget. He was like, whatever you need. And he showed up, and he knocked it out of the park for us. So what was supposed to be very small turned into the first year 252 people.
I was there.
Yeah, I know.
And even, I was shocked by that number.
Yeah.
And then this year.
And so then this year we did it again. And so instead of having 4 months to market, this year I had a full year to market. And we brought 401 people this year. And it grew 37.5% in 1 year.
Now, if you could summarize the strategy to getting that many people out to your event, because it's not easy. No, believe me, it's not easy getting people out to anywhere. And you have other people producing events, and they advertise for months and sometimes even years. People plan stuff, and they launch it. And they get a couple people out, and then it crashes. How did you get so many people out, and not only the first year, but then loving it so much that they came back the next year with all their friends? And
it's a great question. It all comes down to loving them. How do we love them, right? Jeff and I have tons of conversations, and then we kind of.
Do you love them for real?
I do. And then when we're done, we hand it over to John Talbot, and he makes more love. So. And that's like I said, that's how do we love Jeff's customers?
And you say Browser's Den is turning into a love factory.
Love fest.
Love fest.
And no, you know what? Look, you can buy magic anywhere, you can do magic anywhere, but where are you cared for? Where do you feel like you're part of a community? And if these other conventions can figure that out, then they'll have success. I'm not saying that we figured it out, but we've tapped into making people feel like they're part of something special. And it's not about who's on our lineup and how great our talent is. Look, trust me, I want to get great talent. But if I have no talent, I still want you to come, because I want you to understand that this is an experience that you just can't get elsewhere, that is so wholesome and so loving that you just want to be part of it. And I know that sounds cheesy, but it's like it's the most compassionate magic convention in the world.
No, but it's true. You really do feel like people are taking care of you. I worked the first one.
Yep.
And what we got, well, first of all, we signed, and I don't know if I have a poster. Maybe I do.
You should have.
I think I do.
We have one. If you
Anyways, we signed posters for so many people who came. Well, every one of the
all the VIP got posters for free. And I personally went around and I had every artist from last year sign that poster.
But all the talent got, great things. We each got a bottle of wine, and there were.
I'll tell you how that happened. So I had a marketing budget, and the first year I obviously didn't need it. I mean, I don't know why, but we sold out so fast that I had this money in budget. So instead of bringing it to the bottom, we bought everyone wine. We brought all the artists and staff wine. And not a cheap bottle of wine either, like a good bottle, like wine I drink at the house. And
not the cooking wine.
Not the cooking wine. And it was great because I wanted we're not just loving Jeff's customers, we're loving everyone in the room. That includes the Monte Casino Hotel staff.
Well, I mean, I didn't drink that whole bottle of wine by myself.
So like we everything is very boutiqued. Everything is touched in such a way that you feel like, wow, that's special. That was for me. Yeah. And if I can get every person walking out of the room feeling like that was done for them, then that's my goal, right? Even though it's done for everyone, but it's done on that level where, man, that was for me, right? They thought about that for me. Like Jeff and I and John have this thing called active listening during the year, where if someone mentions something that we can actually do for them at the bash,
you take notes.
We do.
Awesome.
We do. There was a young man who just mentioned that his favorite food was Twizzlers. Guess who got a pack of Twizzlers in his reg this year?
Right.
And again, it didn't cost us anything other than a couple of bucks to put that in there and do those kinds of things. But that's what this is about, right? This isn't about how many tricks you can learn or what great celebrities you can meet. It's about really feeling like you're part of something special.
Even me, I was caught off guard. I was doing a presentation, and it was regular. Well, how long was my spot?
15 minutes.
So I finish, and I'm taking my bow and whatever, and then it's like, oh, well, wait a second, there's something else. And I'm like, I don't have anything planned, and then Lee, or who was it? Jeff came out, and he announced that Mahdi does this thing. I've been doing this program with Conjuring Arts called the Summer Reading Program, in which we give away a book every week for free to the magic community, a PDF, not a physical book, but a PDF of a old magic book. They're always great books, classics.
Yeah, there are some great ones.
I think they're all great, but one of the biggest ones we gave away was Tarbell, and I don't know who set it up. You probably did.
You want to hear the backstory?
Yeah, so let me spin it. Okay.
Tell the story, and then I'll give you the backstory.
So, anyways, everybody at the bash, I guess because of my work doing this, as a thank you to me, and also, I guess, to them for showing up, got a copy of Tarbell, a
full copy of Tarbell.
Full copy.
All the books.
Yeah, all the books.
There was a very distinct audible gasp when that happened in that room.
Yeah,
like, you're all
probably for me.
You're all getting Tarbell. So, when you agreed to be on the lineup, one of the things that I thought was, how do we love Mahdi more? Right? I went through that with every artist on the bill. How do we love you more? And so I'd been talking to you for a while about the Conjuring Arts Research Center, and obviously I know Bill. And so I called Bill, and I said to him, wouldn't it be cool if somehow the Conjuring Arts Research Center honored Mahdi in celebration of the bash? And he went, absolutely. And so he said, what do you have in mind? And I said, well, I don't know yet, but I'm going to call Mahdi, and I'm going to get him to tell me what his favorite project was. And he's not going to know how I'm going to do it.
I'll tell you, that was the biggest. I don't know if it was my favorite. It was a big project.
So he said great, and at first I thought we were thinking maybe like one book or something, like some old. I'm trying to think of some sax book or something.
Yeah.
So when I called you and we started talking, and I kind of steered the conversation into the projects and what was your favorite, you said, well, I don't know if it's my favorite, but it was certainly the most immense, was the Tarbell course.
Yeah.
And I prodded you a little, and I said, any other ones? And you went, nope, Tarbell. So I called Bill back and I said, look, I don't know if you'll agree to this, but Maddie said the tar bell. And without even missing a beat, Bill was like, no problem, done. Consider it finished. And that's how we gave away a tar bell course to every person that showed up at the bash last year. So it was
a great giveaway.
It was.
I mean, that's actually pretty much covers the price of registration. I'm not joking.
No, I know. We gave you more than you paid, basically. That was part of the game.
So,
that's how we love you more.
So you give more than you get.
Absolutely.
All the time.
As much as we can. And this year, well, we didn't give away a PDF. Oh, we did give away a PDF, but not like that. This year, we had Daniel Garcia as one of our headliners. And I don't know if people know this, but Garcia severely burned himself when he became a professional magician.
Yep.
And so we let him tell the story. He didn't know this, but I made him tell the story. And as soon as he was finished, just like Jeff came out for you last year, I came out on stage. And I told him that he was very inspirational and that we would like to donate money to two foundations. One is the Spread the Magic Foundation, which is Chad Juros' foundation, where he goes into different hospitals and performs for sick children.
Yeah.
And also downtown, right down here, sick kids, Toronto sick kids.
Oh yeah.
We donated money to their burn unit because, again, Daniel was burned as a child. And so we wanted something very magical and something very special to come out of tragedy. And Garcia, it was a wonderful moment with him. Like, he and I kind of lost it on stage together. It was awesome. And again, that doesn't happen at a normal magic convention.
Yeah.
Because a normal magic convention does not have in their framework, how do we love you more? But if you have that in your framework, these kinds of things will happen. And like when we played Chad Juros' video, he's got a wonderful video of him talking about what he does and what the foundation does and why he does it. There was an immediate instant standing ovation when it was over and he came out on stage. And again, that kind of stuff, it happens when there's a great trick performed or a wonderful stage act, but not for something wholesome and human. You know, that's basically what it's humanity. You know, we're showing you that magic is very special, but can only be special if done as a human. And that's why I think the bash is special. I hope that we continue to do it for many years to come. That will I'll leave to Jeff on his shoulders because it is the Browser's bash. He is the Browser's den. But I'll help him as many years as he wants. And yeah, man, I'm glad that you could be there for the inaugural year. I'm glad that Garcia could be there last year. And we had Tom Mullica was booked for this last year, but he sadly passed away. So, and you can't replace someone like that. But we were able to get David Williamson to step in, and it was a great year. It was a great year. And so this next bash is on April 1st.
Okay.
Because there is no better time to have a magic convention than on April Fool's Day.
And it's on a Saturday?
Saturday, April 1st, 2017.
Awesome.
Make time, be there.
It's going to be great.
I hope so.
So, before we wrap up, anything you want to say to the
listening,
to the people?
To the listening and viewing audience at home? Yeah, man, chase your bliss. Chase your bliss. Don't
follow your bliss.
Don't let anyone tell you that that's stupid, right? If you like playing cards with cats on them, then please make sure you collect every single deck with cats on them, right? Because that's what will make you happy. And if you're happy, then things will be good.
And it's true. What he's saying is true. Don't listen to people when they laugh at your ideas. I honestly didn't think the bash would be ever as successful as it was. And it wasn't me being a
pessimist.
A pessimist.
Yeah, no.
It wasn't that. It was just me.
In the reality of things, this is a tough sell.
It was completely outside of my experience. I've never seen anything like this before.
Well, it was outside of my experience too. I've never put on a magic convention before. And so I guess that was part of why it was successful, was that I wasn't locked into all of these historical formalities. You know, I didn't have to have certain things that magic conventions have. Like, we didn't have a contest.
Yeah.
Like, I refused to have a contest. And Jeff agreed and John agreed, because when at a contest, there's only one winner and everyone else loses. And that's not the framework of the day. The framework of the day is, how do we love more, not how do we hate more.
Awesome.
So I was not locked into certain things with Jeff and John because I've never done this before. And so it was a fresh perspective, I guess is what I'm saying. And maybe over the years it'll sour, we don't know. But for now, we're trying to just push the envelope. We're trying different things. You know, we're trying to just love the customer.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you, Lee.
My pleasure, man.
Thank you for coming. And we'll put a link in the video somewhere around, I don't know where on the screen, so you can go to Lee's website.
LeeAsher.com.
Buy all his stuff.
All of it. Twice. You should buy three times everything.
Even the PDFs. Just buy them as many times as you can.
Yep. You can't have enough PDFs. That's.
Well, I'm also running a Kickstarter. I don't know if the video will be online by then, but I have a hat.
Yes.
That's coming out. It's called Make Magic Great Again.
Yep.
It is going to change the world. We've already had protesters. It's riling people up. So
Good.
Check that out.
You can't have yin without the yang, my friend.
If I survive, if I don't get assassinated before the next 32 days before this thing launches, I'll see you guys on the other side. Peace.